Anthony De Stefano, illustrated by Richard Cowdery. There once was an ox, grumpy and old, blind as a bat, selfish and cold. Prideful and lame with tired old bones, he lived in a stable, depressed and alone. Without any family and no friends in sight, he stayed by himself from morning till night. His master, like him, was stubborn and vain. He owned a small inn where visitors came. He gave the ox orders, the ox disobeyed, defiant and willful, he wasn't afraid. The man took a broom and with a loud smack, he gave the old ox a whack on his back. You lazy and sightless and smelly old brute, the innkeeper shouted and kicked with his boot. The ox simply sneered and grumbled with pride. He limped to the stable and lay down inside. The stable was dark, but he didn't mind. He stayed there alone, just bitter and blind. Then, one black night, the door opened wide. A man and a woman were standing outside. The owner was with them. He said with a grin, "You'll have to stay here. No room at my inn." The ox strained his eyes, attempting to see. He barely detected the forms of all three. The lady was pregnant and heavy with child. The man held her hand and tenderly smiled. He put a small blanket on top of the dirt. The woman lay down about to give birth. The innkeeper left them all cold and alone, without any food and so far from home. But something odd happened that memorable night, something that gave the ox quite a fright. A shutter flew open and in floated like a star in the heavens was dazzling bright. It made the small stable feel pleasant and warm. In the simple setting, the child was born. Stranger as it seemed, the ox became sad because the young family was treated so bad. "I'm all by myself," the grumpy ox sighed. "The reason is that I'm so full of pride. But this little babe, so humble and poor, is guiltless and precious and perfect and pure." Just at a moment he had an idea. He struggled to stand and limped over near the manger he ate from, all filled up with straw, and pulled it across the cold stable. At the woman in ox talk, he said, "Take my straw manger for your baby's bed." He limped to the pail from which he drank water. He picked up the handle and carried it toward her. He put the pail down and saw with a bow, "Wash him with this. I'm not thirsty right now." The lady just smiled and patted his head. She understood somehow the things that he said. She bathed her small baby and dressed him in white. He slept in the manger throughout the cold night. Soon shepherds came in along with their sheep. They knelt by the crib and watched the babe sleep. A donkey and camel came through the door. They walked very slowly and knelt on the floor. 3 figures followed, each wear a crown, each bearing gifts, each kneeling down. What can be happening? Who can this be? The grumpy ox squinted. I wish I could see. He strained his eyes and thought for a while, then looked at the child and started to smile. This baby is special, sent down from above. Yes, that's why this stable is so filled with love. That's why these people are worshiping him. He must be from God. He must be a king. The rest of the night he knelt on the earth next to the feet of the girl who gave birth. The family soon left to find a new home. With everyone gone, the ox was alone. He thought of the babe he so loved and adored, while he, the old ox, was shunned and ignored. I'll try to be different, the grumpy ox swore. I won't be so prideful or mean anymore. He walked to the manger. His hunger was great. He stuck his head in and rapidly ate. Then he felt thirsty and looked over where the babe had been bathed in the bucket with care. He drank from the pail until he was done and soon fell asleep outside in the sun. He slept and slept and slept, and he slept through the night. He rose with the dawn and the soft golden light. But when he awoke and opened his eyes, the ox was amazed by a wondrous surprise. He looked all around, and what did he find? He couldn't believe. He was no longer blind. The hillside, the village, the stable, the tree, all that he gazed at was plain as could be. He rubbed both his eyes, then rubbed them again. Now he saw donkeys and camel and men. All that was blurry was now crystal clear. Even the mountains appeared very near. Wow. He got to his feet and walked through the field. His leg was all better. His limb had healed. He ran to the stable and danced through the floor. He didn't feel grumpy or old anymore. The ox was so grateful he started to sing. It must be a gift from the king, the baby from heaven. It just has to be. I drank of the water and now I feel free. I ate from the manger and now I can see. He started to cry and shouted with glee, I can see, at last I can see. The end. Tomorrow we're gonna do the Angelus in family and the whole rosary. Stay tuned for tomorrow's Angelus. Bye and Merry Christmas.